Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Monday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Monday, April 15th, 2024. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? First card in our 5-card spread. We love starting our Monday with this. We've got here our 7 of Cups. Possibilities, possibilities, possibilities. The expression and expansion of choice coming into play right now. One of the things that we're seeing, again, the beauty of the eclipses, the pulling back right now. What happens when we have an energetic breakthrough? When we're able to navigate and look to the past and we don't get caught in that energetic feeling of heaviness or regret, but utilizing that as a moment of energetic peace, of building that sense of recognizing and identifying that the ability to look back on the past does not create a limitation point, it creates an expansion point. It creates that sense of being able to see and recognize all the possibilities that lie before you, as long as you don't keep your eye focused energetically in the space of looking backwards, right? The ability to look backwards just a little bit, right? Being able to see and ascertain, to understand an energetic lesson, but then allowing that to be something that motivates and pulls you back to the forward present space. That is what allows for that moment of insight, of being able to get energetic clarity in terms of what you see behind you, that then helps to amplify and steer your energetic course forwards. So we see and recognize right now, for a lot of the energy across all of the frequencies, that ability of not letting yourself get caught in that regret mindset, not letting that moment of the retrograde that feels like it's energetically pulling you back keep you stuck in there, but almost looking at it and utilizing it as a point of perception and observation, having that build that sense of now allowing that point. Like, what happens when we're able to look back at the past a little bit? It's like that's that moment that builds clarity in terms of how we are moving forward. Masculine and feminine energy that's in the heart of the divine union frequency. And this is both the energy at the heart of it and the energy that's like coming up into it, because the energy that's coming up into it is pretty much there. We're seeing here that is that moment that feels like that amplification point in both feeling the intensity of what you may have just experienced over the last few days or weeks that occurred during the eclipse. That again, also was a moment of intensity, but also looking a little bit backwards at the same time. That is fortifying and building your energetic commitment, as it were, in relationality to how you are proceeding forward at this time. And even at this moment, we see here that feels like that sense of energetic expansion, because that's that moment that delineates between the difference between an energetic crisis point versus an energetic breakthrough. Being able to utilize the past experience and to take it in a way that feels like it is productive. It allows for a new clarity of perspective because your own perception is shifted. Now, masculine and feminine energy in the heart of the divine union frequency, the only difference right now between the energy in the heart of the divine union frequency versus the energy that's just moving into the divine union frequency in relationality to this work has to do with the fact that for the energy in the heart of the divine union frequency, this has had to do a lot with recognizing and identifying how far you have energetically come since entering the divine union frequency right now. And one thing that we appreciate is, for a lot of the energy in that modality right now, this is that moment. If there was something that was reached, if there was something that reached that culmination point during the eclipse, even if it was something that felt like it hit some kind of energetic trigger, not allowing yourself to just operate from the energetic trigger, but almost being able to approach it with inquiry, with curiosity, navigating even through those hurdles about feeling that sense of wanting to do what feels like it is energetically best, is allowing for that expansion point, because that's that moment of being able to recognize and take whatever feels like an unconventional path work in relationality to recognizing and identifying that there's always a solution to a situation and circumstance, so long as you know where to put that type of work. That is why we see even now there's been so much work right now for the energy in the heart of the divine union frequency to try to identify and recognize what feels like the difference between something that you may have felt like that sense of internal discomfort that's coming through, something that you may have brought forth with you into the heart of the divine union, versus something that is externally happening outside of the self. Because that is the moment that helps you build that calibration in relationality to having to be able to navigate and address a problem. For the energy that's doing this work right now, that's again creating that sense of navigation, helping you choose the right direction in relationality to how to tackle a lot of those hurdles. And even now, that's that moment that feels like, again, even that continuing work here is helping to build, like, it's like, again, okay, is it outside or is it inside? Okay, it's inside. What is happening there? What needs to be unpacked? What are the options? What are the circumstances? Okay, it's outside. We need to change the manifestation goal. What do we need to adjust? What are the possibilities? So even now, it's that moment of, even when we recognize the, like, where we need to put our time, effort, energy and attention, it expands other possibilities, because that is that moment of coming into a space of working with counterpart energy to try to define and determine that path forward. But that moment that, like, as you start to move closer to something, like, often what happens is the possibilities and the nuances expand, because that's that moment of coming towards that, like, larger solution. Masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union, this is going to feel potentially more energetically confusing, because this is that moment that for some of the energy coming into the divine union right now, this potentially feels like the overwhelm of energetic possibilities. The feeling that you have between one another is the guidance point. You already have that system. You're trying to find that point of internal comfort. But for a lot of the energy right now that's moving into the divine union, being able to work with counterpart energy to be able to facilitate and make a choice, this could be a lot of the path work right now, because learning how to do that is sometimes something that requires a little bit of energetic energy, because it's not that moment that you can just choose something and feel like you can move forward in that way. It's that moment of having to, like, really, like, work with someone else to be able to navigate and figure out what that path work is. So this could be a lot of that energy kind of breaking down their own ability in terms of making choices. But that again is, like, again, the tie that energetically binds, because that is that moment that feels like that energetic excitement there, because it's not the sense, and I'll stress this again, the difference between what may feel like a conflict space versus an argument space is always amplified in the difference between two energies that want the same thing. They've just got different ways of going about it, versus two energies that want completely different things, and they're trying to pull each other to the other side in terms of what they want, which would be more about that energy that we find in separation. Speaking on separation right now, for a lot of the energy in separation, this moment has a lot to do with determining what you want to do going forward. For the feminine energy right now, I told you a lot of this is feeling like, for feminine energy, a lot of that ability to heal the abandonment wound is coming into a space or place of utilizing and identifying something that feels, to a certain extent, like utilizing the pathwork of energetic discernment. Why? We just saw a lot of the feminine energy having that breakthrough point and saying to themselves, I need to make sure I'm putting my energetic energy towards someone that wants the same things that I aspire and desire to, that has the ability to communicate what their intentions are, that looks at things with the same perspective that I do in terms of being able to recognize manifestation goals so that we can articulate them and build forth together with them. So we see even now that for a lot of the feminine energy, having that sense of energetic excitement coming into play feels like that moment of the opening up of energetic possibilities, because that's that more of a feminine energy, not necessarily energetically chasing after someone, trying to make someone be what they're not, or trying to bring someone in, like running up to someone being like, putting a hat on their head and saying, like, you're a conductor now, like, you're going to be my partner and this is what we're going to do. This is more the feminine energy looking and seeking for the energy to be in the expression that they aspire and desire them to be able to move forward with them. This is the feminine energy continuing to work forward on that manifestation goal, saying, I'm manifesting and working towards masculine that has that intentionality of purpose. For masculine energy, if you're in separation right now, this is you either identifying that intentionality of purpose or trying to discover and decide which direction you want to move towards in relationality to a manifestation goal. So all of this is coming through right now with a lot of abundance of choice, if you will. Second card in our 5-card spread for today is Queen of Cups. And we love to see this card in its position, because we've got here our Queen of Cups. This is the feminine energy, like, to a certain extent, just learning to be energetically patient. This is the feminine energy looking towards the possibilities in separation and saying to themselves, to a certain extent, my job isn't to transform an energy into something that they're not. My job isn't to convince an energy that they want something that they're not articulating that they say that they want. The feminine energy is always saying, my job is to be picky. My job is to be an observer. My job is to look and see and determine what feels like it is showing me that they have the same determination point in relationality to what I aspire and desire going forward. This is the feminine energy continuing to build that point of emotional stability. And what we appreciate about this right now, this is the feminine energy that's leaving themselves open to be energetically surprised. This is the feminine energy saying possibilities are endless. Possibilities are endless. Nothing is going to be lost or not or missed, because this is a feminine energy that's basically saying, I'm manifesting the type of energy that I will not miss it. How do you miss someone that's moving towards you with intentionality of purpose? Feminine's like, I won't miss that. You can't miss it because it is bare. It's like you can't avoid it. You just see it. You know what I mean? Like, that's a feminine energy saying, I'm not going to worry about missing something if I'm manifesting an energy that I cannot miss their intentionality of purpose. That's a feminine energy saying, if I'm questioning someone's intentionality of purpose, well, I guess that's probably not the space that I'll find someone that's moving towards me with intentionality of purpose. Masculine energy, in separation, this is that modality of potentially energetically feeling right now that the masculine energy is making an energetic choice right now. And if the masculine didn't recognize that this was happening prior to this point, well, I guess now you can kind of see it. This is the masculine energy that may have felt to a certain extent that there was an abundance of energetic choice around you. But again, one of the things that we saw that the masculine may have recognized, especially if this is giving some clarity on past path work, if you are leaving yourself open to the abundance of opportunities and experiences around you, and there was some feminine energy that separated or pulled away from you, well, then now masculine energy are recognizing, you're potentially realizing that it feels like it's not necessarily so much of an energetic choice, because it's almost that recognition point of, again, this is a lot of masculine energy right now, deciding and determining as to whether you feel like you're ready for divine union, because this is the masculine energy feeling like suddenly those amplifications of choices that they felt like they may have had in the past don't feel so much like that was the amplification of choice, because it's a recognition point that some of that energy was not in that frequency, that the energy of the feminine that is in that modality right now doesn't kind of move in that space or place of waiting for the masculine to energetically pick them. The feminine energy that sees a masculine energy that's moving in a state or space of wanting the masculine to energetically pick them usually just energetically walks away from masculine energy that's giving off that type of frequency. So we see even now that for the masculine energy, that sense of energetic choice is almost that recognition point that some of the feminine energy that works in that space of being energetically balanced is not the type of energy that stays around circumstances or situations that feels like masculine is trying to make some kind of energetic choice. That's a feminine energy, almost like pulling themselves out of they're pulling themselves out of that selection process, or they have been. And this is either you energetically recognizing that is something that's been occurring for quite some time around you, and now you may be observing that and recognizing that, or it's this moment of ascertaining and recognizing and wanting to build forth with a feminine energy that desires to be, again, in that point of prioritization, because how can you build forth with someone in terms of all of the possibilities around you unless you make that type of tangible choice? So we see even now that this is masculine energy that is either building up the energetic courage to come towards feminine energy and really articulate as to what it is that you aspire and desire for, being able to navigate that hurdle of finding and experiencing and coming into that vulnerability point and being able to share your energetic dream with the feminine. Or this is masculine energy in separation, trying to determine how to articulate if this is an energy that feels like they're not energetically ready for divine union. Even now, figuring out and understanding that your own ability to articulate upon the fact that you're not ready for divine union is also something that allows for an energetic union with feminine, because that is a moment that even by amplifying and articulating it, you're building forth in a state of clarity and openness with feminine, as opposed to doing something that feels like it is energetically hidden. So we see even now that for a lot of the masculine energy, the ability to articulate upon what that dream is either one that you're building the courage to be able to articulate to feminine, or one that you're trying to articulate with the self, because you're recognizing that your own ability to understand something is how you're able to energetically share a dream with another from a place that feels like it is positive and healthy and restorative. Because that's that moment that allows the feminine to again come into something and say, I understand, I agree with this, I am working with you in this because I understand the nature of the circumstances or situations by which you are trying to set your path work. Masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union right now, this is the energetic equivalent of having this type of energetic connection. The hurdle or the difficulty for a lot of the masculine energy in this modality right now is, again, it's almost that moment that feels like that amplification point. Because what happens in a state or space where you recognize and you feel a connection point with feminine, and even when you give them your doubts and your fears, so long as you're not projecting them out onto the feminine, so long as you've done that work and you don't project your doubts and fears on the energy outside of the self, but you work on that sense of saying, I am feeling this, I am feeling that, I'm processing this, instead of accusing others of causing that reactivity space. That is the masculine energy that immediately builds an energetic bridge with the feminine, even in being able to articulate and amplify their emotions. For the masculine energy, that's almost feeling like there's a feminine here that may feel like they're saying, like, I appreciate everything that you bring forth to me. This is the feminine energy saying, like, anything that you're saying to me, it doesn't make me more afraid of you. It doesn't push me energetically away. This is the feminine energy saying, the more you tell me, the stronger our energetic connection is, because this is the feminine energy that feels like, again, their own ability to express in that way. The masculine energy that's come into the heart of energetic intimacy, that's learned to do that work and is building that bridge with feminine. That's the feminine saying, everything that you give me, even if it's coming from a place of anxiety and fear, so long as you're not projecting it onto me, you're just building that energetic bridge between us. And that's the moment that's that point of being able to share the same. That's that moment of being able to give something back to someone and say, I feel that too. I feel something similar there. Masculine and feminine energy in the heart of the divine union, this is exploring the energetic possibilities, if you will, in relationality to how to proceed forward at this time. We saw there was a lot of energetic unpacking that was potentially happening over the last few days or during that eclipse cycle, that was either leading to new possibilities, or it was leading to something that was feeling like a point of discomfiture that got exacerbated or blown up enough that you were able to really see it more clearly. For a lot of the energy in the heart of the divine union frequency, not wanting to turn a blind eye to something that may have gotten elevated during the eclipse season, is almost that a desire, the gift of seeing a molehill turned into a mountain for a moment, going back to being a molehill, that allows you a moment of saying, well, let's address that. Like, let's go into that. Let's make sure that that's not something that gets bigger, because that's that moment of saying, like, we saw something and now that means that we can energetically tackle it. And that's the ability of discerning. That has to do with location right now for the energy at the heart of the divine union frequency, because that's that moment of identifying, again, what is outside of the self. If that discomfort point is outside of the self, then that would be an adjustment of a manifestation goal. If it's inside the self, if it's something that you're feeling, that you're recognizing, that has been with you even since before you entered the divine union frequency, that would be the identification of self-work that is required, that while the counterpart can build that sense of helping to encourage you on that path, it is more of a solo journey. And we see here that a lot of that ability to discern that is what is allowing a lot of that moment to become an abundance of energetic possibility. It's an expansion point instead of a limitation vector. Third card in our 5-card spread for today is, this is how we maintain harmony. Listen, you don't maintain energetic harmony by saying, I found something and everything was perfect with someone and then we never had to worry about anything ever again. That's not how it works. That is never how it works. It's never that moment of being like, I found someone energetically perfect, then nothing was problem again, and everybody was happily ever after. No, it requires, like, that happily ever after requires a lot of work in maintaining the happily ever after. So we see even now that for a lot of the energy right now in the divine union frequency, doing that work, doing that necessary work of recognizing and identifying what you might need to change, modify, adjust, to be able to build that sense of balance, of energetic easement. That is what feels to a certain extent like an expansion point, because that's that moment that being able to process through. A lot for the feminine right now. I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of the feminine energy in the divine union frequency is doing a lot of work recognizing the difference between having an emotional, energetic feeling and subjecting another to it, right? Versus having an energetic feeling, being able to internally assess it and present it in such a way that you're able to articulate on the possibilities of what may help ease the energetic feeling. Because that is the feminine energy, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Doing the energetic work in recognizing and identifying the space or place that can feel energetically productive, something that you're navigating that you could use a little bit of energetic assistance on, something that you're like, the counterpart can help me in this way and facilitate that path work, as opposed to energetically feeling something that is internal, not wanting to have a moment of subjecting another to something that they can't energetically change because it exists within the self, that allows for a moment of possibility and being able to talk to someone about how you want to proceed to navigate that internally to be able to facilitate a better energetic partnership. So we see that for both of these modalities right now, this is feminine energy doing a lot of energetic unpacking to determine if that feeling of discomfiture exists outside of the self or within. We're not surprised to see this either, because we saw that for a lot of the masculine energy yesterday, again, acting as a clear mirror to the feminine, having to have what may feel like an articulation of a hard conversation. What was the message that the masculine was basically saying to the feminine? Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. I can only energetically help you insofar as you tell me how I can energetically help you, right? For the masculine energy, it's really important. It can be very triggering for masculine energy of having that moment, of having a circumstance brought forth without a clear sense of what to do with it. For the masculine energy, this is almost the masculine trying to show the feminine energy, saying, I'm willing to energetically support you in any way I can, so long as you tell me what that support looks like. And that's the masculine even saying to the feminine, it's not that I'm not willing to navigate forward, right? And like give you some kind of energetic, like we can't, it's not that we can't make those decisions together, but you can see the fact that this is masculine energy in the divine union frequency, not wanting to become prescriptive about the feminine energy's feelings, right? The masculine energy saying it's not my job, or shouldn't be my job to tell you what to energetically do if you're feeling something. That's why the masculine energy is almost saying to the feminine, I want you to come towards me with those possibilities, with those solutions, so that that way we can navigate them together. Because that is the difference of a masculine trying to heal the abandonment wound of not wanting to feel like they're moving the feminine energy into spaces or places, or giving them that point of saying, like, this is what I think you should do. This is some of the masculine energy saying, I want to continue to do that work on my own self, by saying to you and saying, bring me forth your possibilities, and I'll add some, I'll throw my chips in if I have a few extra to add. But let's start from the energetic positive, as opposed to the energetic deficit, because that's helping the feminine not feel like they're energetically needing the masculine, saying, I need you, because that's the feminine saying, you're giving me something that I don't have, as opposed to the feminine saying, I want you to help me with something that I already have within, and I want you to help me make that choice. I want you to help me make that determination. And that's the difference between, again, fostering a partnership that feels like it's energetically equal, by not having that moment of one, like, telling the other energy where to go or what to do. Masculine and feminine energy in the divine union, coming into the divine union frequency, what we're energetically seeing to a certain extent for a lot of the energy in coming into the divine union frequency is simply that moment that we're identifying or recognizing, as it were, situations or circumstances wherein we are seeing that these energies are learning how to do this energetically together. And we're not surprised to see this to a certain extent, because we're recognizing and identifying that for a lot of the energy coming into the divine union frequency, the ability to build together right now is what is being energetically learned. So even now, that ability of, again, the same lesson coming through, masculine not wanting to become prescriptive in terms of saying, like, this is how we're going to do something, but having that moment of both masculine and feminine addressing things, offering their possibilities, is what is creating that sense of energetic harmony. Masculine and feminine energy in separation right now, this is the moment of the energetic moment of amplifying the choice. But again, that choice is feeling much more on the internal level, right? For feminine energy, that is that moment of the feminine saying, I do not want to be a choice for the masculine. This is the feminine energy in separation saying the way we move towards manifestations, I have to stress this, the way we move towards manifestations, you can't just say what you want, right? You have to also tell the universe what you don't want. You have to put in like the full order, as it were. So this is the feminine energy saying, I am manifesting a masculine energy that moves towards me with intentionality, and recognizing that they're making the energetic choice to move towards me, and that they have the ability to articulate on their intentions, because that is the feminine energy. Again, feeling like that is the signpost for the feminine of a masculine that is committed to the work that is required and necessary to build a divine union connection, as opposed to the feminine saying, I recognize and identify that there's some masculine energy and this is okay. Not like, whatever, Godspeed. That's that moment of saying there's some masculine energy that does not desire divine union. They want to have more of that like lots of fish in the pond mentality. And the feminine's like, that's fine. But this is why we see that a lot of the feminine energy is saying, I'm doing a lot of work to manifest and recognize the energy that truly desires divine union, as opposed to the energy that wants to kind of stay in the shallow side of the pond. That's the feminine saying there's nothing wrong with it. They can knock themselves out. But the feminine's like, I'm just not going to be in that well. Masculine energy in separation right now. This is that moment that you may be recognizing and identifying that this is either masculine energy that's understanding that even leading forth from a space or place of feminine, articulating on the fact that you're not necessarily ready for divine union, there is that moment that there's going to be a little bit of an energetic limitation vector in relationality to who you might be partnering with, because that is the difference between the feminine energy saying like, but again, coming from a state of openness and clarity and honesty, and the feminine energy almost saying to the masculine, like, you know, even now that point of energetic appreciation, as it were, of a feminine being able to recognize and identify what the masculine wants, to be able to come towards it from a state of openness and clarity. That is the difference between the feminine and the masculine energy, feeling like, again, building forth from feminine from a state of honesty and clarity, but also being able to articulate upon your intentions. So therefore, there is no space or place where you feel like you're energetically misleading or misguiding the feminine, or building a world of energetic illusion around the feminine. Or this is masculine energy that's recognizing and identifying the desire to build forth with feminine, but being able to amplify that sense of finding the energetic courage to tell the feminine energy what you desire and like what you truly desire in a divine union connection. May feel like it's very difficult for the masculine, because that's that moment of, again, setting your energetic sights on someone and wanting to open up, but not being sure how it will be energetically received. But again, for a lot of the masculine energy doing that work, that's that moment of like, how will you ever know if you don't ask, right? So we see even now that's that masculine energy saying, again, if I desire a possibility with the feminine, I need to be able to articulate on it. Because that's that moment of recognizing that we don't stumble into our manifestation goals. We build them energetically together. Masculine and feminine energy in separation right now. One of the things that we're seeing, and again, I'm not surprised to see this because this is like one of those moments that we're identifying, is this is good. Because this is that moment. If there's been any of that, like, I feel like a lot of this, like, eclipse season, there's been a little bit of that hermit energy. A lot of people staying inwards with their energetic breakthroughs as they're going through these moments of breakthrough or crisis. This is that moment that feels like a breakthrough. It's starting to feel more like an energetic breakthrough, because it's giving you something that allows you to move forward in this way. It doesn't require you to stay like energetically isolated to a certain extent. We see even now that for masculine and feminine energy, doing this energetic work, going through this energetic process, there's this moment that even now it's like, I mean, this is like the spring fever that we're seeing that hits often during this time. There's this feeling of wanting to go out, wanting to seek out that type of counterpart energy for a lot of the energy in separation right now. But this is that moment that almost feels like that amplification point of energetic eagerness coming back into play, because that's that moment that for the feminine, utilizing that pathwork of energetic discernment is what is amplifying now the excitement that the feminine has, because this is the feminine energy saying, I need to be very mindful and know what I'm looking for in order to energetically find it. I don't need to find the masculine and say, okay, I can change that into what I desire. This is like not looking at someone and saying like, this person has potential. This is feminine energy saying they either have it or they don't. I'm looking for the energy that has it, that wants that, that's able to articulate that. Masculine energy and separation right now. The only hurdle that we're seeing right now, and again, we're seeing a lot of the masculine in separation right now, overcoming their own anxiety in relationality to moving forward in this way. Because if you've never moved forward before the way of being open and intentional with feminine, it may have to feel like it's rubbing up against that abandonment wound, being like, I don't think any feminine on the world, like, I have to stress this, masculine, if you're going through a moment of being like, I don't think any feminine in the world would be okay with like me being intentional with them. Like, that's the moment that has to make you question your own. And like, if you have a moment, like, I have to say this, like, I know, guys, I wish I didn't have to say this. I'm going to stress it again. I don't know how many times I have to say this. If you have, please, like, listen to me very clearly. If you have a manifestation goal that does not feel like it can match the maxim of everyone having the manifestation goal, you need to reconsider the manifestation goal. You need to reconsider the manifestation goal. Because if there's some energy right now of masculine struggling through, I'm going to say it again, a manifestation goal that you're feeling anxiety in revealing to the feminine, because you recognize that the minute you reveal a manifestation goal, it's one that needs to be energetically shared. You got to go back to the drawing board. I mean that from a place of the deepest energetic gratitude and love from spirit, from whatever you want to call it. You have to go back to the drawing board, because you're immediately seeing, like, there's the moment that you have to like energetically rub something out and start the equation again. Because that's the moment that you're identifying that there's something there, that the reason you can't get to the heart of intimacy with the feminine is because you're saying that there's something there that you feel like you don't want to energetically share with the feminine. So we see even now that for a lot of the masculine energy, recognizing and identifying that may feel like a moment of doing a lot of internal journeying in understanding that point of energetic resistance for some of the masculine energy. I'm not going to say all here. I'm saying this for a very specific part. That something about your manifestation goal, you're like, well, I don't want to say that, because if I say that, then they'll like if that's happening, I want you to go back and erase and just start again, right? Because your manifestation goal, there's already something a little bit wrong about it. Masculine, and the other part of the masculine energy right now, what we're energetically seeing to a certain extent, is this building that sense of anxiety coming into play, because we see even now that for a lot of this masculine energy, the ability to find the energetic confidence to do so to a certain extent is, again, the desire and inability not to want to be mistaken by the feminine for the masculine energy that resists telling the feminine about their manifestation goal because they don't want the feminine energy to share in the manifestation goal. So they're the masculine energy that's on the other side of this. This is literally masculine energy trying to energetically heal this out of a deep, deep, profound desire of saying, please don't misunderstand me. Please don't let me be misunderstood. Please don't let me be misrepresented. I need to find the energetic courage to do this, because if not, the feminine energy is putting me in the same bucket as the masculine energy that doesn't want to reveal a manifestation goal because they don't want to energetically share it with the feminine. Masculine and feminine energy in the heart of the divine union frequency, this is that ability of just learning how to make choices together. It's a lot harder to make choices together because you can't just make choices together. This is the energy coming into the divine union frequency right now that's learning the difficulties of hurdles of how to collaborate in terms of decisions. But again, the amplification, the joy of this is, again, these are energies that share the same manifestation goal. So what happens when you have arguments and you share the same manifestation goal? They are positive arguments because you're pulling for the same manifestation. You just got different ideas as to how to get there, right? You're both trying to get to Albuquerque. You're looking at different routes on how to get there. A lot of this work right now, and that's the reason that these energies are able to move into divine union, because they both share the desire to go to Albuquerque. They both show the desire to move towards the manifestation goals. And the masculine, bearing in mind this was not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, was able to go into the heart of intimacy to reveal to the feminine what their manifestation goal was. Masculine and feminine energy in the heart of the divine union frequency, this is that moment of energetic alignment in relationality to feeling and experiencing something and determining where that destination leads. Because we see even now that for a lot of the energy in the heart of the divine union frequency, that recognition point of some of the manifestation goals, I'm going to say it right now, some of the manifestation goals, adjusting, recalibrating, This energy has shifted. Things have changed. When we change, our manifestations change. That doesn't mean that you fall out of the divine union frequency at that moment. It requires that energetic recalibration point. So for a lot of these energies right now, especially if there were moments that something about that eclipse intensity brought forth some point of energetic discomfort, being able to identify what exists outside of the self that allows for an adjustment of the manifestation goal versus what exists within the self that requires more of that internal work. Either way, it creates an expansion point and possibilities as you begin to pinpoint how to address an energetic problem. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Fifth card in our 5-card spread for today is, it's hard stuff. It's hard stuff. It's hard energetic stuff when we do this type of work, right? Because it's making you energetically face a problem. This is not the first time that this card is making an appearance this week. This is something that has been popping up. Being able, not pretending that something is fine, not turning an energetic blind eye to something. This is the power of the divine union frequency. The divine union frequency, it's not that everything is all sunshine and rainbows. It's hard. It's difficult. There are always, it's not like there aren't the same problems as anywhere else. It is all about how one navigates through those energetic problems. And what are the energies right now doing in the heart of the divine union frequency? They're not turning a blind eye to an energetic problem. They're not turning a blind eye to an energetic problem, potentially even looking at past circumstances and situations as a template of recognizing and seeing what potentially happens when one turns a blind eye to an energetic problem. These are energies that are committed on recognizing and making sure that there is alignment. And that's that moment that becomes a positive, because when there's something that is creating that sense of energetic discomfort, that's not that energy of saying, oh, I guess you just got to get used to it. I guess that's a you problem. No, this is energy that goes, what can we do to address that? Where does that live? Is it something that can be adjusted outside the self, or is it something that needs to be worked on internally? And the only way to do that is to be able to face and to confront what energetically hurts. And that's hard because we see even now these are potentially difficult energetic conversations. But again, are these energies like cowering from that type of work? Absolutely not. This is energy that's saying, like, almost like, bring it on. Like, let's do it. But again, this is the masculine saying to the feminine in the heart of the divine union frequency, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. I can only help you if you can tell me where some of that disruption is, especially if this was something that was focused on the energy of the feminine. Like, again, that's the feminine energy. Like the difference of feminine being like, there's a disturbance in the force, and masculine being like, that's not helpful. Where's the disturbance in the force? Like, is it outside the self? Is it inside the self? If the feminine is just going, something's wrong, and masculine's going, well, what do I need to do to fix it? This is why it's so valuable and important for the feminine energy, if they're feeling an energetic disruption point, to be able to articulate and say, is it something that's outside the self? Is it something that's inside the self? Is it something that needs to be adjusted in the present? Or is this something that you've energetically carried for a while that your own ability to feel like more energetically comfortable is allowing you to unpack? Because that's all a moment of being able to say everything can be healed so long as we figure out where to put the energetic healing. Masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now. This is the energetic equivalent of learning how to make decisions together. There's no other way I can say it. This isn't so much that like deep investigation energy. This is like potentially like the practical hurdles about some of the things that you're trying to move towards right now. And potentially, like I said, having the same energetic desire in relationality to what you want to go does not mean that you have the same plan in terms of how to get there. So this could be a lot of planning that's occurring right now for the energy coming into divine union frequency in identifying like what one aspires and desires in terms of sharing that manifestation goal versus what someone is like, no, not like that. No, not like that. No, not like that. Oh, maybe that. Like it's almost giving a lot of that. But this is the same energy. Not turning a blind eye to something that is energetically difficult. Letting that be something that, again, you face and encounter and you share together, because that becomes the tie that binds. It allows you to have a difficult conversation and have something productive on the other side of it. Masculine and feminine energy in separation right now. This is a lot of the energy in separation. You know, this is a lot of karmic clearing that we're seeing that's happening right now. A lot of the energy right now in separation, particularly the feminine, having that point of energetic understanding right now. You know what's hard about this for a lot of the feminine energy, and we see even now for the feminine energy having to use that point of utilizing energetic discernment in separation. It feels a little bit like, it feels very energetically painful, because even now that's the feminine energy moving into that state or space of having a bit of like energetic release process in relationality to looking at circumstances or situations wherein they feel like that wasn't there, and being informed about that energetic heartbreak. Because for the feminine energy, looking at something and saying, I need to not just look at the connection I feel towards someone. I can't just look at how I feel about someone. I need to truly ask myself if that is energy that wants the same things I want, if we're moving in the same direction. What can be very energetically painful there is even now, and with this retrograde period, the feminine building that sense of understanding in terms of what hasn't worked in the past, and suddenly saying, I understand now why it didn't work, but it doesn't make it any less painful, right? Because that's the feminine energy saying they didn't want it, they didn't want what I want, or they didn't want it as badly as I wanted it. And that's that moment of saying, like, I can't energetically fix that. But that ability, like, it doesn't, understanding that clarity doesn't heal it. It almost just moves the pain to a different space, right? Because that's the moment of saying to oneself, there's nothing there I could have energetically changed. I need to come into an acceptance point that I did everything I energetically could. But in that moment, when someone doesn't want the same things that you want, nothing that you energetically do will be enough, because that's that moment of recognizing that that's not a failure of your own person. That's working with an energy that doesn't want the same things as you. So we see even now that this is the feminine energy, you know, utilizing that hard pathwork of a lesson to help inform their present experience going forward. That doesn't change the energetic feeling that they have towards someone, but almost coming into potential acceptance and the fact that they may feel like there are some energetic connections here. If someone's saying, I have all the love in the world for someone, but I know ultimately we desire very, very different things, right? And that is a lot of the feminine energy coming into that state of being able to come into a point of healing by accepting what they're carrying and recognizing like what it energetically takes to proceed forward from that point. Masculine energy in separation right now, if this is a circumstance or situation wherein you have been doing a lot of that path work in terms of understanding not just what it is that you aspire and desire in partnership, but also taking accountability. How about around either your own reactivity point that may have created spaces or places of pushing someone away that you should have pulled them towards you, or having some moments right now of understanding and recognizing, again, doing that hard work of trying to articulate what it is that you truly want so that you can build forth with feminine from a place of clarity and openness and honesty. This is either masculine energy that is either, again, looking back on some of that heavy path work, what it energetically took to be able to come into these points of breakthrough, to be able to ascertain and determine what that path looks like going forward right now. And what we appreciate about the value of this eclipse cycle, and this is why the eclipses are valuable, is something about being able to see something from the past in a different perception, like that sense of energetic heaviness. It's not one of the masculine dwelling in that space. It's almost seeming like for a lot of the masculine energy and separation right now, this ability to want to make some kind of energetic amends is what is empowering you in relationality to how you go forward from this point. Because that is that moment that articulates and amplifies being able to recognize the desire of wanting to build forth with feminine energy in a way that feels like it is positive, feels like it is restorative, feels like it is productive, as opposed to being able to create a space or place that may be energetically built to create pain. And even now, like the masculine energy, recognizing and identifying that is what is allowing for some kinds of energetic breakthrough. Because not wanting to mislead the feminine, recognizing that if you hold a manifestation goal that you feel like you can't reveal to the feminine, that's something you have to go back to the drawing board on, because you're basically saying that you're holding something that you know will hurt the feminine if they recognize it. That's the masculine saying, I have found the I have found I have found the difficulty. I have found the cause of energetic harm. If I'm holding a manifestation goal that I can't reveal to the feminine, I have discovered where the harmful element is. It's within myself, because that's the thing that's creating that space of building a world of illusion around the feminine. For the masculine energy, if that's that moment of saying, it's not that I didn't want that, I was too afraid to share that with the feminine, and my inability to share it made the feminine feel like I was trying to move them towards something that they didn't want because I wouldn't reveal it. This is the masculine observing and saying, I am going to heal this going forward because I don't want the feminine energy to misconstrue me as I go forward from this point. That is where the healing is occurring, and it's energetically painful as we do so. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Seven of Cups in combination with our Queen of Cups. One card to clarify, please. Two cards coming out to clarify. Chatty Cathy's today. We've got here Temperance in its reversal in combination with our Queen of Pentacles. So this is the thing about the feminine right now. The feminine in separation. The only thing that the feminine is feeling right now, and I'm going to say this again. I was saying this all to masculine yesterday. Feminine, I'm going to say the same thing to you. If it took you this long to learn an energetic lesson, now is not the time to get all caught up in yourself and feeling the frustration of having learned an energetic lesson. You have to have a lot of gratitude for yourself and say that everything that it may have required to come into that point of understanding was a part of that energetic lesson. That was the coursework. Congratulations. If you've had the breakthrough, then that's the breakthrough point. Let that be a moment of energetic celebration. So we see even now that this is a lot of the feminine energy in separation, like raring to go. This might be a lot of the feminine energy being like, I'm ready. Like this is a lot of feminine energy in separation, feeling like that spring fever and being like, I'm ready to get out there. Because the important thing about this doesn't feel like feminine energy repeating an energetic cycle. I told you there's a breakthrough here. This is feminine saying, I know what I need to do now to have a different energetic outcome. This is why we saw a lot of the feminine energy was pulling back to a certain extent, because this was a feminine being like, I don't want to go back out there and have a repeat of an energetic lesson. This is the feminine energy being like, I know now. I recognize what my energetic assignment is that potentially will allow for a point of breakthrough. So that's the feminine energy. And I will say the one thing that the feminine energy is saying to a certain extent is the only thing to recognize is this is creating a space of feminine having a much shorter window of time and relationality to seeing something on the part of masculine energy. This isn't feminine energy saying, well, maybe if I stick around with a masculine long enough, they'll get their head out of the clouds and they'll know what they want. This is feminine energy saying, this is like, again, the binary of saying like, it's either there or it's not. This feminine looking at masculine being like, it's either there, it's not. It's either evident or it's not evident. I'm not going to stick around to try to figure out the nuances as to why it's not presenting itself, because feminine saying to themselves, it's all the same energetically in the wash. Whether that's a masculine that's too afraid to reveal their heart's desire, or whether that's a masculine energy whose manifestation goal is such that they don't feel like they want to share it with me because they don't feel like it would be equal to share it. They don't want to have the same manifestation. That's a feminine saying, either way, as sad as it is, I have to assume that the outcome is energetically the same to a certain extent. So that's why the feminine energy is feeling very grounded to feel that sense of confidence to go back forward, utilizing that as their baseline of saying, I just don't have a lot of time for anyone that doesn't know what they want or isn't able to articulate it to me. Masculine energy in separation right now, this is that moment or modality that you may be feeling and experiencing. If there is feminine energy that feels like they've built like that sense of having a lot less energetic patience around you, or you're looking at situations from the past wherein you recognize that there was some feminine energy that pulled away from you, you may be recognizing and identifying right now that that didn't have to do with the fact that the energy was rejecting you. It had to do with the fact that the feminine energy felt like you weren't revealing to them your intentionality. Like if the feminine energy is coming into that space state of not seeing you be authentic in relationality to what it is that you want with the feminine, you're seeing and recognizing the feminine. The only thing the feminine can't do is tell the difference between an energy that's holding back due to a lack of fear, like holding their intimacy close, versus an energy that has a manifestation goal that they don't want the feminine to match them in. Saying, well, this manifestation goal is only for me. I want something different for you. I want you to help me have my manifestation goal, but I don't want you to have the manifestation goal. So we see even now that for a lot of the masculine energy, not wanting to be misunderstood is what is propelling you forward right now, to be able to say, I want to create that space or place of feminine energy that feels safe and comfortable and confident with me. And that's how we see that for both of these energies right now. The ability to heal this is either readdressing how you're approaching something. If you recognize that you're manifestation goal is not one that the feminine, if you're saying to yourself, oh wait, there's something broken on this manifestation goal. If I'm saying to myself, well, I want this for myself, but I don't want it for the feminine, right? Or this is masculine energy that's learning the confidence to be able to lead forth and reveal the manifestation goal to the feminine in order to facilitate that ability of building together. The energy at the heart of the divine union frequency is doing this right now. The only thing about it is that feminine here is a lot more confident in relationality, again, to what it is that they aspire and desire in terms of how to fulfill a manifestation goal. And this is that moment of trying to come into partnership with masculine, because this is the feminine energy, maybe having more elaborate manifestations than the masculine, and masculine just kind of wanting to rip the band-aid off of something and just being like, let's make it like easy as possible. Masculine and feminine energy, this is the problem that's happening right now in the heart of the divine union frequency too. I don't want to say problem. I'm saying it's a little bit of a hurdle, because this is feminine energy that, like, again, wants to potentially articulate, talk about, build forth, like, all of the possibilities, like wants to process a lot of this right now. And we see even now that for the feminine, that ability to do so is here. Masculine energy right now is feeling a lot more energetically rushed. That's the only problem for these energies to recognize right now. Masculine energy is feeling a little bit more overwhelmed with all of the things that they have around them right now. So it's a moment that we see that may having a little bit of disparity between these energies, because this is a moment of the feminine feeling like being, like I told you, slowing things down, wanting to come into that space of being able to like look at something and like, well, I'm saying like walk the halls, if you will, and like look at all the possibilities of something. And this is the same energy of masculine, having a little bit of that shortness today, feeling more like the masculine has a lot to do, wants to activate a lot on a lot of things right now. So that ability, the ability for both of these energies right now to recognize like the placement of where you are is potentially going to help avoid what could be a triggering situation or circumstance, right? Because we're seeing here that what may be happening is feminine may be feeling a little bit of energetic loneliness. Masculine is feeling a little bit of not having enough energetic time. So we want to be a little mindful of that and recognizing energies may be experiencing something today, but in very different ways, okay? Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Queen of Cups in combination with our Lover's card. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with, and I told you, this is why I'm going to say it again. I want everyone to be a little bit like empathetic right now towards where you may be finding the counterpart energy. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Because what we are seeing and recognizing right now is these energies right now are feeling like they are in a little bit of disparity in relationality to what the what the modality is today, right? Feminine energy is moving more in that space of putting a lot of care and concentration in reviewing the emotional landscape, if you will. Masculine is feeling more of that sense of needing to move forward on things and feeling some like anxiety in relationality to time. I'm saying this to make sure that if you're going to have a conversation with someone today, I want you to lead forth and say, is now a good time to have a conversation about something? Because we see now, like specifically, there could be feminine be like, I feel like now is a great time. Masculine being like, now is the absolute worst time. So just be a little mindful of that today as you proceed forward. Masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union today. This is that moment that feels more like, again, the feminine energy is enjoying some of that decision process. The feminine energy wants to stretch something out here. Masculine does not. Masculine, it feels like pulling teeth, okay? This is the difference. This is when we can have the same experience, but people have very different opinions on what's going on. And we're seeing here that something about that moment of reviewing choices and options feels like it's creating more of a languishing characteristic in the feminine that they enjoy. Masculine is like, I don't like this. I just want to make a decision and energetically move on from something. So again, just be a little mindful right now that what happens, this is something that potentially happens when we recognize we both we want the same thing, but you got different ways of going about it. Masculine and feminine energy in separation, this is coming into the value point of recognizing the energy that, again, that they're saying to me, the difference between what feels like an argument, two energies that want the same thing, they've got different ways of going about it. Feminine's recognizing and registering the difference between finding nuance in an argument that feels productive versus energy that feels like it's conflicting, which is, again, an argument that feels like it's not, it's because you're not trying to move in the same direction. You want different things. And this is the feminine energy potentially looking back at past situations and circumstances and saying, oh, wow, that's the reason that argument kept happening, because it wasn't an argument, it was a conflict. They just didn't want what I wanted, and we were arguing about it, as opposed to two energies being on the same side and having a difficulty in terms of figuring out the nuance around something. So this is the feminine energy that, again, is bearing that in mind right now in relationality to anything that they feel like they're having towards masculine. And even if there's some kind of like ongoing difficult discussion with masculine right now, this is the difference between a feminine energy recognizing and feeling like they're having a difficult conversation with masculine. So a masculine energy that's having a hard time talking about something because they're learning how to do something, as opposed to masculine energy that refuses to have a conversation or gets very emotionally, utilizing emotions as weapons because they don't want to talk about something, because they feel like they're not moving in the same direction of you. They want something that feels very oppositional and they don't want to discuss it. So we see even now that the feminine energy, utilizing that pathwork of discernment, is helping the feminine going forward, if you will, in terms of identifying what feels like it is productive conversation versus what feels like it is a conflict because someone doesn't want to recognize and identify the fact that you have different manifestation goals. Masculine and feminine energy, masculine energy in separation right now. This could be this modality for a lot of the masculine energy in separation right now, in relationality to what it is that you aspire and desire for in relationality to partnership. We see even now, I want to stress for some of the masculine energy, making sure that you don't get too short today. I just keep seeing that this is coming through, because for a lot of the masculine energy right now, that modality, this is that moment that we see in separation. You're building that sense of really understanding what you want to put your time, effort, and energy and attention in, what you're really putting a lot of that energetic force towards right now. And for a lot of the masculine energy right now in separation, even if there's something here in relationality to your connection with feminine, this is either, again, I'm going to keep saying this is masculine energy doing a lot of that internal work to build that manifestation process in relationality to being able to tell feminine what you want, to be able to let anything from the past be served as some kind of deep energetic lesson that has value in the present. Or this is masculine energy really building that sense of determination in relationality to who you want to build forth in that way with. But again, building the energetic confidence to be able to be pushing through your own vulnerability, to be able to tell that energy what it is that you aspire and desire with them. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Lover's card in combination with our Hermit card in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Two of Wands. What's so valuable and important during this time right now is the idea of being able to have a difficult conversation, right? Masculine and feminine energy. This is just something that keeps coming through. The difference between two energies having a difficult conversation, aspiring and desiring for the same manifestation goal, having different ideas or aspirations as how to get to that space, right? Versus the energy recognizing a bifurcation, that the reason that there's some kind of ongoing disruption point is due to the fact of two energies that want different manifestations, and they're trying to pull each other to the other side. So we see even now that ability for masculine and feminine in separation right now. For the feminine energy, this is a lot of the gift of this Mercury retrograde period, because for a lot of the feminine energy, it feels like this is the clarity that you may have had needed at a past moment. You're looking back, you're getting that type of energetic optics on something, you're understanding something in a new way that's helping you build that sense of recognizing what you want to change within the self going forward. And so the feminine energy, being able to look at a situation and circumstance and ascertain and understand if when you're having a point of dispute with masculine, if the difficulty is because you both want the same thing, but you have different ways of getting about it, or if that's a moment that is articulating or showing the fact that you want very different ways, and there's a resistance point in trying to bring someone to the other point, like that is the feminine energy saying, I'm going to be very conscientious of that going forward. And that's what's helping the feminine right now in relationality to communication. So this could be a lot of the feminine energy right now in separation, having a lot of that inquiry-based mindset in relationality to talking to masculine, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to see if masculine energy is able to articulate upon what that manifestation goal is, right? And that's the feminine energy saying, it doesn't even matter if it's the same manifestation goal. This is feminine energy saying, I want to see a masculine that's able to talk about things in this way, because that's feminine energy, seeing a masculine energy that is putting that sense of care and attention and being able to articulate and say, I want to build something with someone, instead of looking and saying, I'm looking for someone who's going to fulfill my manifestation goal for me, but they're not building with me, they're just a part of it. Right? They're just like somebody who's like someone around me as I do that. So we see even now, that is the feminine energy that is not even kind of moving into a space or place of feeling like they need to like encourage the energy to move in that way. The feminine energy is using their own sense of like perception to say, if I don't see it, it's not the moment of having to energetically force something. I just need to recognize like if they're in that state or space of being willing to openly share that, because if they're not, then that's almost the feminine saying it will energetically always be like that. Like that point, like that, and again, that's either because the masculine has a fear of energetic intimacy to share that, or it's a masculine that is reluctant and resistant to showing the feminine the manifestation goal because he fears that they don't energetically share it. For masculine, this is again a lot of the reason that a lot of the path work of the masculine right now is working to energetically heal this, because this is the masculine that says, I don't want to be misunderstood. I don't want to be misconstrued by the feminine. I don't want my anxiety and fear to make me the thing that feminine is afraid of. So my own ability to overcome this energetic hurdle, to learn how to communicate in this way, is what is going to show the feminine and say, I am with you. This is something that I also aspire and desire, and I am able to confront that part of me that has that anxiety of opening up and coming into that heart of intimacy. Like I am constant, and this isn't even the masculine saying, I am constantly working through this. It's not that it's easy. This is the masculine saying, as like I'm doing that energetic work in something that is hard for me. And for the energy that's in the heart, the coming into the divine union frequency, a masculine saying that, the feminine saying, you're doing it. You're doing it. Talking about the fact that something is energetically hard for you is exactly the type of work that feminine needs to see, that says, you're doing the work. If you're staying and you're having a hard conversation, that's feminine saying you've already accomplished it, right? Like that, it'll become energetically easier. But that's the feminine saying, I'm here. That's when feminine energy gives out their hand, because that's the feminine saying, I'm here to help you through that, right? Because that's the feminine going, I can help you with this because this is something I'm very good at. So we see even now, that's that difference, that for a lot of this energy that are making determination points right now, one of the things we're seeing even now is almost that moment of the masculine having to say to the feminine in a very like loving way, like what you're worried about, or this discernment, especially if there's like some kind of pickiness that's happening right now in terms of choices. This is almost masculine saying like, I don't care about the choice. But that's a masculine almost saying to feminine, it's not, that doesn't mean, again, that's a feminine masculine saying to feminine, it's not that I don't energetically care about you. There's like almost masculine trying to say to feminine right now, if they're in this energy, I care about you, and this is a choice that you can energetically make if there's something here that like it feels like it's something that's picky or tangible, because that's a masculine almost saying to the feminine, it's not, it clearly seems like it is more of a priority for you. And I honor the fact that it is a priority, and I want you to do what you feel would make you feel energetically happy. What is happening for the energy in the heart of the divine union? If these are difficult conversations, trying to ascertain what's creating a discomfort point, this is the masculine saying to the feminine, I can only help you if you can tell me where I need to help you. And that's a masculine almost giving back the gift to the feminine and saying, I don't aspire for you to be a mind reader, and I can't be a mind reader either. I can't be here. You can't name an emotional feeling you're having, and I can just intuitively know what you energetically need. I need you to energetically help me. I need you to give me that map. I need you to come forth when you're feeling something. It's not just enough to say, I'm feeling this way. This is masculine saying, you have to tell me what you want to energetically do with that feeling. Is if you're angry, what are you angry at? What needs to be changed? Are you angry about something outside of the self, which we can change? Or are you angry about something happening within the self that you can't name? Because that's the difference of saying that that's something that needs to be healed from the internal space. And I can be there to support you as you work on that internally. Or if there's something outside of the self, we can adjust that. We can change the temperature. We can get a different pillow. But if it's inside, you need to articulate and amplify that. So we see even now these energies are helping facilitate that sense of understanding by being able to pinpoint what the point of energetic discomfiture is. Continuing to get clarity on these cards right now between our Hermit card and our Three of Swords. Hermit card in its reversal and our Three of Swords. We have here our Knight of Swords in its upright. And that's why I'm going to say it again, guys. I'm just warning you. The energy today, feminine and masculine, in very different places today. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to warn you guys. The possibility for triggers today is very, very high because we've got here feminine that's in a much more contemplative modality. Feminine's much more in that sense of building a sense of not being very active today. Almost coming into that state of taking a lot of that like restiture. Masculine is in the absolute opposite modality right now. This is masculine feeling very energetically motivated and feeling to a certain extent like that desire is there wherein they feel like they don't have enough energetic time. So you can see a moment, I need to stress this. If you're trying to have an emotional heart-to-heart with someone today, ask for consent. Ask for consent. Ask someone, say, is now a good time to have an emotionally, like a long emotional conversation? Because I'm telling you right now, a lot of the feminine, if you ask that to masculine, masculine's going to say like, no. But they're not going to say no as in I don't want to have that conversation. They're going to say, I can't right now. So just be a little mindful of that today. And I'm seeing that across all of the frequencies. Feminine and masculine right now, again, in separation. And again, because this is masculine trying to like avoid anything that's feeling like this is it's not avoiding. This is masculine feeling like they don't have enough energetic time right now, right? So they're rushing around. Feminine is doing a lot of this like internal exploration or investigation and fearing that they're making the wrong energetic choice. So do you see how hard it can be for the feminine to be in a space of being like, I want to talk about choices, and masculine being like, I need to make an energetic decision? That's why we see even now that these energies need to work on making sure that you're being mindful about how you're relating to one another today. Masculine and feminine energy in separation right now. These are the energies being very like in the like the this is there's a lot of energy right now that's getting out there today, but for different reasons. Feminine is moving back out there today, like almost in that way of like seeking out new energetic connections with masculine, but feminine energy is using a lot of that sense of energetic discernment. Masculine, this is a moment that we see in separation that you're trying to rush forward and almost trying to rush and advance your own healing, if you will. Because this is that moment of trying to find the energetic confidence because you don't want to be misunderstood on the part of a feminine, especially if you're having some kind of energetic breakthrough and recognizing that something that you didn't reveal to feminine may have been indicative of you not wanting to share a manifestation goal with a feminine. So we see even now that this is a lot of masculine energy doing this work saying, I don't want to be misunderstood again in that way, or I want to energetically correct something. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Temperance in its reversal, our Queen of Pentacles, and our Seven of Wands in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with Seven of Pentacles. So a lot of this is having to do with laying those plans as it relates to like the future. Masculine and feminine energy in separation. This is the feminine energy kind of moving into that state of space of energetic patience, if you will. This is, I said, this is the feminine energy, like building that sense of like saying to themselves, I'm not going to stress about missing something that's for me. How am I going to miss something that's for me? This is the feminine energy. If they're seeing masculine that's halfway on that journey, that's coming towards them from a state of authenticity, but they're missing the intentionality, this is either the feminine energy saying, that's either energy that will build that sense of intentionality, and I'll know when they have that intentionality because they'll show up to show me that they have it. Or this is feminine energy that's saying, or I'm going to continue forward in this way to seek out the energy that already knows what they already has, that intentionality of purpose. This is the feminine energy saying, as long as I maintain my own energetic standards in terms of what I'm looking for, I'm not going to energetically miss it because I'm manifesting an energy that I can't miss the intentionality of purpose. How can you miss something that is moving towards you intentionally and is clear about their intentions? Masculine energy, if in separation, this is why we see that a lot of the masculine energy in separation is hurrying up so much right now, because this is the masculine energy that is either feeling the sense of a feminine energy that's moving forward and saying, I'm just going to go seek this. I'm going to go find this with like the energy that like is moving in this way. And this is the masculine energy right now doing a lot of that internal pathwork in relationality to ascertaining and determining what it is that they energetically want. Because there's almost this sense of recognizing and identifying and feeling that sense of saying, you know, my ability to be able to articulate this to feminine is what creates a space of feminine feeling energetically secure to build forth with me. So we see even now that a lot of that is more of that masculine energy and separation, either again, trying to build that sense of self into play in terms of recognizing what that aspiration is, or coming into focus and relationality to being able to articulate what it is that you want from feminine, so that way it's a point of making sure that you're not energetically misunderstood as someone who is trying to energetically mislead the feminine by having a manifestation goal that you don't feel that you actually want to share with the feminine. You just want the feminine to help facilitate for you. So we see even now, this is the masculine going, I don't want the feminine to think that's happening, because that's not something that is correct or balanced. And this is the masculine saying, I need to do the work on the self to find the energetic courage to help the feminine see that what I desire is not something that they should fear, because it's something that I want to build with them. Masculine and feminine energy in coming into divine union. This is the energy that does that. This is the feminine energy feeling the stability and security of a masculine that is like, again, this is the masculine energy, if anything right now, having a little bit of energetic shortness about something that they don't energetically care about. Because this is a masculine energy saying to some feminine energy coming into divine union, I know this is more, I know that you care about this. I don't care about this as much. That's not me saying I don't care about you. It's just the masculine saying, again, I'm energetically busy. I trust your judgment. So in a way, that's a gift. That's a tie that binds, because that's a masculine saying, I trust your judgment. I know I can put this in your energetic hands. Masculine and feminine energy. And this is the only problem with this with feminine is feminine being like, well, I don't want to do it by myself. I want to do it together. Like that's a feminine coming into separation, being like coming into divine union with masculine, but I want to do it together. I don't want to do it by myself. I want it to be an us thing. Like it's literally giving me a little bit of that energy of feminine being like, but it would be fun. And masculine's like, it would not be fun for me. It would be awful. Like masculine and feminine energy come in the heart of the divine union frequency. This is a lot more energetically difficult, because this is the feminine energy needing to really be able to put the emotions into words. This is feminine recognizing it's not enough to be able to talk about your feelings. Talking about your feelings is great, but you can talk about your feelings till the cows come home. If the feelings aren't able to be articulated, if you're talking about the fact that you're upset, but you can't put your finger on where you're upset, there is that moment of being able to help get some assistance in processing through that. But if it doesn't lead to something that feels like it's energetically productive, today is not the day to share it with the masculine. Because this is masculine saying, like, again, I am energetically overwhelmed. I can't be in a space of holding spoons for you because I'm out of spoons. So recognizing and identifying that right now is a moment of allowing this is feminine coming into a space. If you're going to have a conversation with masculine today about something, be very practical. Give them that template. Tell them, be like, I'm upset. Tell them why, give them something that they can energetically work with, is what we're almost seeing to a certain extent here. Because even today, this is the type of energy, masculine will pick it up and do it, but they don't have time to energetically talk about it, right? So just be a little mindful of that, because the energy today, it's in very different places is what I'm seeing. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Seven of Wands in combination with our Two of Wands. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Five. I'm going to say it again. Nobody's allowed to get triggered today. Nobody's allowed to get triggered today. Like, just don't let it happen. It's not going to be helpful. Masculine and feminine energy in the heart of the divine union frequency. Like, look at this. There's a lot of this moment right now of trying to like lay groundwork in terms of going forward. The problem right now, feminine is much more contemplative on the past. Feminine is caught in this moment where there's a lot of contemplation on the past right now. Masculine's dealing on the present. Masculine's working on the present. So if that's why we see, I want you to be very mindful about asking consent to have a conversation today, because it's almost like you're pulling someone into a space or place that they're not energetically inhabiting. Same for masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now. The only difference here is, again, the difference between feminine wanting to do something because they feel like it's like something that's fun for the energy together to do, and masculine being like, there's nothing about something that feels energetically fun. Like, it's not, it's the opposite for me. Masculine and feminine energy that is in separation. Everybody just drink your water in separation today. Just to take some calming breaths, because we see even now that the only problem with some of the energy in separation is a little bit of that, like that expedience coming in, a little bit of that prickliness, right? Because if this is feminine energy that has secured, I'll put it this way, if feminine energy is looking back at past conversations today with different optics that they're now utilizing to inform their present conversations, we see even now that may be creating some of the feminine energy looking at something in a way it doesn't make them feel happy, potentially recognizing and seeing situations from the past wherein they feel like the context was one that they didn't feel like they were moving in the same direction as someone. Like, that's the best way. This is the energy of the feminine potentially feeling very triggered by a lot of the lessons of the past that they're utilizing to inform that discernment going forward, right? A little bit of that energetic shortness that I'm bringing forth. Masculine, the ability of recognizing the state or space of being potentially energetically misseen or misviewed on the part of the feminine is almost bringing you into a state of like urgency, if you will. Because this is the masculine energy coming into that state of, again, recognizing and identifying, wanting to bring balance to a situation, now understanding like why something wasn't balanced, or understanding that you may have been misconstrued in a moment because the way that you were moving may have made you seem like you're in the context of an energy that was trying to like not work with the feminine, but just have the feminine like fulfill your own manifestation goals. Because that's the anxiety point when we don't have the confidence of being able to build from the point of the energetic heart of intimacy with feminine. It leaves a lot of room to be energetically misunderstood. So we see even now there's a lot of that energy having the value of a lesson that's spurring you into action, but making sure that that action feels intentional and not reactionary. Okay? Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Two of Wands in combination with our Knight of Swords. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Ten of Wands in its reversal. This is the thing. I'm going to tell you right now, feminine, masculine just doesn't have spoons today. Masculine is out of spoons today. Now is not the day to have an emotional conversation with masculine. Masculine is out of spoons. And there's a lot of possibility here for the masculine to feel very triggered if you try to have a conversation with them today. But that's not due to the fact of a masculine not caring. That's a masculine that's trying to catch up. There's something about the masculine energy here, like across the board, that feels like they're trying to do a lot in a short period of time. So this is that moment of masculine like rushing ahead right now. And that's that moment that if you try to come up to the masculine right now with something that they're not concentrating on, they're going to potentially be a lot shorter today, because it feels like you're energetically distracting them at a moment that they're trying to stay very focused. So just be a little mindful of that today, feminine. Masculine, try to have a little bit of energetic patience today. If the feminine's coming towards you, recognize and identify, being able to utilize something and say to the feminine, I care about something as much as you care about something, but well, actually, I'm seeing for the masculine right now, it's actually saying one of two things to feminine. Bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Either saying to feminine, this obviously means more to you than it does to me. I trust your judgment. I trust your judgment in making an energetic decision on something. Or masculine energy being able to say to the feminine, I want to unpack something with you, but now is not the energetic time. I don't have the bandwidth to do so, is going to help a lot of this energy right now, not going into what could be identified as feeling energetically triggered or frustrated. So be very mindful of that today, okay? Across, that's a message across like all frequencies. Like that's across all, like that is like all frequencies. PSA. Like just keep that in mind right now, okay? Clarification between our Seven of Pentacles in combination with our Five of Swords. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with the King of Pentacles, right? Here we go. This is what we like to see now. This is the beauty of the, look. We've got the beauty of we've got the energy, the energetic companions here, okay? Masculine and feminine energy in separation. And this is what's important right now. There are a lot of the masculine energy in separation, that point of observation. This is what is allowing a state of energetic grounding. Because for masculine energy right now, if you're in that healing gesture, if you're coming into a space or state of saying, I want to build forth with feminine in a way that feels like we are acting together and serving each other and working together to build a divine union. This is the masculine saying, I need to be able to hold a manifestation goal, to be able to share it with the feminine. And that's a masculine saying, I'm doing that from a point of confidence. I'm also doing that from a point of recognizing that if I have a manifestation goal that I don't feel confident to share with the feminine, that might say to me that there may be something I need to readdress about my own manifestation goal. Because that's almost saying to myself, I have a manifestation goal that's good for the goose, but not for the gander. I can't be in divine union and saying that I aspire and desire for something, but not you, just me. Like you can't, like that doesn't work energetically. It always creates that space, and then you start building the world of illusion, and then like everything, like being able to build from that state of recalibrating and finding that ability to lead forth, finding that sense of being able to build in a healing moment with the feminine. We see even now that there's a lot of the masculine energy looking back at the past. But the beauty of this, even if it may feel energetically triggering, is it's helping you have a better sense of understanding of self in relationality to either making sure that you're not misunderstood by the feminine, by being able to find the confidence to tell the feminine how you energetically feel and what you energetically desire to create with the feminine. Or this is masculine energy in this modality right now, having that affirmation point and saying, I am going to make sure, like I want to create from a space or state that allows for that sense of me being able to feel energetically grounded. And if there's something here that I feel like there's a resistance point in sharing with someone because I feel like they don't join in me in that dream, that's masculine saying, I better go rewrite that. Like I have to go back to the drawing board, because that's a masculine energy, feeling that sense of saying like that is what, like that is coming into a state or space of building that energy of saying, I want to be able to be on, I want counterpart, like if I want to have something, I need to be able to articulate it. And I need someone to join me in that aspiration. I need someone to join me in that moment. So even now we see that a lot of the energy is working on healing that in both of, in like all of those modalities right now. Masculine and feminine energy coming into separation. Like in separation, a lot of that feminine energy right now in separation is having that moment too. This is the feminine energy looking back on the past, looking forward to the future and saying, I'm looking towards masculine that's able to tell me what their aspiration and dream is. And this is the feminine energy saying, again, if the masculine energy doesn't have the energetic confidence to do so, I can't fix that. If the masculine energy is being resistant or reluctant because they don't want to share their dream with me, I don't want that. So this is the feminine saying, again, in either capacity, the energy of the masculine that's able to share the dream with me is going to validate and amplify the fact that that is masculine energy that is fully like moved through that journey of being authentic, but also being able to merge the intentionality with the authenticity. Masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now. This is the masculine energy looking at the feminine at a moment potentially where the feminine wants some kind of determination or wants the masculine to come in and help them with some kind of energetic decision. And this is almost the feminine and the masculine energy saying to the feminine, what did I tell you? This is the energy going, I trust your judgment. I trust your energetic judgment. And that's the sense that, again, that's like building the bridge, even in a moment, because that's the amplification of the masculine saying to the feminine, it's not that I don't care about some kind of decision here, but it obviously means more to you. And also, my priority is your energetic happiness, right? So that is that moment that even in a moment of frustration, it feels like building an energetic bridge. Well, for the energy right now that's in the heart of the divine union, this is the masculine saying to the feminine in a very empathetic way, if you have a point of discomfiture, it's not enough just to tell me how you're feeling. You need to tell me what you energetically want to do with it. Come towards me with possibilities, because this is masculine saying, I don't want to be in a place where I have to tell you what to energetically do. I want a place that we do that together. And the only way we do that together is that we don't just bring a problem to someone seeking an energetic solution. We approach one another from a space of saying, this is my energetic issue. These are the consideration points I've made in relationality to how to address that. Can you help me make a determination point on what I should choose? And also, if you have any you'd like to add, I'd be very willing to receive them. So we see even now that this is a moment that we're letting that trigger create a moment of deep productivity. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Five of Swords in combination with our 10 of Wands in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification with our Five of Pentacles in its upright. Masculine and feminine energy in the divine union frequency. This is that modality that we're seeing right now. And I got to stress this. I'm going to say it again. The possibility for abandonment wounds to be triggered right now is very energetically high, because we see that these energies are in very different places today. Recognizing the difference between someone being in alignment with you but feeling like their imperative is different today is going to be very important, because we see here that the prioritization point of the feminine is going deep diving into abandonment wounds today. And masculine energy is almost saying to a certain extent, I don't have time to probe into an abandonment wound today. I'm trying to take care of a tangible situation. So being able to find each other and recognize that even when we communicate, communication requires consent. So being able to almost say to someone at a moment that you want to go into a deep dive and be like, I want to go do some pearl diving today, energetically. Do you have time to put on your scuba gear? Masculine's going to be like, no, I don't. But it's not that I don't want to do that. It's just now is not the energetic time. So being mindful of recognizing the ability to identify and to say to someone, do you have the bandwidth to unpack something, is going to be very valuable and important today. Across all of the frequencies. For a lot of the masculine coming into the divine union frequency right now, this is almost, again, the masculine saying to the feminine, make sure if you're bringing forth that energetic feeling about how you're feeling, please bring with it some possible solutions, because that's the masculine feeling like they're working with the feminine, as opposed to a masculine that feels like the feminine is energetically leaning on them for support at a time that they feel like they don't have the support. They don't have the bandwidth to provide that energetic support, right? The energy right now coming into divine union, this is more of the masculine saying the feminine's having a concentration point on something that the masculine really just couldn't energetically care about very much. But again, the way to navigate through that right now is being able for the masculine to say to the feminine, it's not that I don't deprioritize you. This is not as much of a priority to me. This means more to you, and I'm giving it to you because that's something that amplifies the fact that it's clear that you care about something in a way that it's important to you and it's not important to me. But that doesn't mean that you're off alignment. It just means that your priorities aren't the same right now. While masculine and feminine energy in separation today, what we're effectively seeing is this is that energy that feels like the equivalent of setting some kind of resolution for yourself that is allowing you to go forward by putting down something from the past. We can only go forward and have a different experience if we know what we want to energetically change. This is the energy right now, building that sense of recognizing what they energetically want to change. For feminine, that is utilizing that pathwork of discernment and looking towards masculine and saying, I need to see the masculine that comes towards me, being able to amplify what their dream is to build with me, regardless of the reason as to whether they're doing or resisting doing so from a lack of confidence or from because there's some kind of anxiety that I won't share their manifestation goal. Feminine's like, it's all the same in the wash. And feminine's confronting the abandonment one by saying that and saying, like, you know, if my ability to ask for that pushes an energy away, that's a feminine saying, well, I guess then the boundaries have done their energetic work, because that's an abandonment wound that's doing its job, right? That's a feminine looking at abandonment wound being like, that's okay. The abandonment wound showing up there is the abandonment wound doing its job to energetically protect me. Masculine energy if this is a modality or opportunity wherein we're seeing, because again, it's not that all abandonment wounds are negative. The abandonment wounds are there for a reason. This is the masculine energy right now. The only problem is this could lead to the feminine feeling a little bit like energetically short today. Masculine energy and separation, if this is a modality of recognizing and identifying what it is that you aspire and desire for, this is almost feeling that abandonment wound, because it's that moment of like wanting to come into a sense of building that sense of confidence to be able to articulate that to the feminine, because that's that sense of not wanting to be energetically misunderstood by the feminine as someone who's trying to mislead or misguide the feminine energy. Final card for today's spread between our King of Pentacles in combination with our Five of Pentacles. Heavy energy today. Our Chariot energy, and we love to see this. Again, what happens when we're able to navigate through an abandonment wound? It leads us to new pathwork going forward, because the abandonment wound, being able to confront the abandonment wound to a certain extent, is what is building that sense of energetic confidence now. This is the feminine energy, again, experiencing that moment of feeling that conflict point, right? Having that anxiety or fear of saying, well, what if that masculine energy is too afraid to like reveal that energetic dream to me? But this is the feminine energy saying, well, then I guess that's something of the masculine having to confront their own abandonment wound. I'm manifesting masculine that is confronting, that is able to navigate through their own abandonment wound, to be able to recognize and identify the ability to do so that would facilitate an ability to see that this is a masculine I can build forth with, because I know that this is masculine energy that knows how to confront their abandonment wounds. Well, for feminine energy, like that's the moment of feminine saying, again, that's the point. That's almost the feminine energy saying, what if they're afraid? And feminine energy and separation going, yeah, what if they're afraid? This is the feminine energy going, they have to be able to show me the ability to confront their own fear. I cannot facilitate that for them. Masculine energy, if in separation, this is a moment that you may be feeling like you are confronting your own fear, because this is a moment of masculine saying, regardless, if I've been disrupting my energetic connections because I'm too afraid to reveal a dream to feminine, that puts me right out there with the energy that doesn't want to reveal their dream to feminine, because they know that the feminine doesn't want that dream. And masculine saying to themselves, I don't want to, like, if I don't want to be out there, I need to confront this, because that's the difference of the masculine saying, I don't want to be misconstrued as having not done that to the feminine, because this is the masculine saying, I understand now. This is the masculine healing their feminine by seeing things from the point of view of the feminine and saying, I get it now. I need to face my abandonment wound. I need to confront that. I need to have the courage to be able to be open and intimate with the feminine, because that's the only way that the feminine can ever truly know that they are safe with me. So we see that for both of these energies right now, this is creating a space or place to be able to move forward in a place of productivity. Masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now. This is that moment that we're observing that, again, this is why I'm seeing even now, it's almost one of those moments that like, it feels like and this is why I want to avoid anyone being triggered today. It feels like there's something here where in the masculine, it's like, it's much more important to the feminine, and masculine's own priorities are not so much in play in relationality to any of these decision points coming into divine union right now. And that's that moment of masculine almost saying to feminine, like, that is just the difference between us having a different point of view in terms of what we enjoy. And it's okay if you enjoy that. I don't enjoy that. But that's that moment of saying, I trust your judgment in those decisions. That's why I move with you. It's that not that we have to be in lockstep all the time. It's that we continue to move forward in these ways, doing the things that we energetically enjoy. And if there's something there that you enjoy, like this is that energy of saying, go for it. And I energetically support you, right? Like that's the difference between feeling like you're moving together because like you have to do everything together versus saying like you go this way and I go that way. But that doesn't mean we're in different frequencies. It means that we're like, we're pursuing our energetic interests in a way that we're not denying the other person what they aspire and desire. Masculine and feminine energy in the heart of the divine union frequency right now. This is confronting the abandonment wound today. And that's a moment that we see even now for the feminine, having a moment or modality of seeing the masculine almost being in a space or state of feeling very energetically separate to you today. Doesn't mean that you're energetically separate. It just means that you're in different modalities right now. And we see even now being able to navigate those abandonment wounds with a sense of, like, a lot of the work here is like recognizing and feeling the sense of being able to ask for something and realizing and recognizing that someone might not be in the space to inhabit where you are, and being able to almost like energetically self-soothe in that point, as it were, is what's creating that space or place that's helping facilitate partnership right now. Because we see even now, this is masculine, it's very driven today, and feminine, that's very much more like slow and introspective. Both of these energies finding a way to like navigate through those abandonment wounds is what's showing that point of alignment, because it means that even in a moment that you feel like you're dissimilar, you recognize and you're being mindful of where someone is energetically. And that is, like, to a certain extent, like a benchmark of being in the divine union. It doesn't mean you always have to be in the same space. It just means that you're respectful and appreciative in facilitating what someone needs at a time that they energetically need it, or what they can't provide, because that's a different of feeling helpful as opposed to feeling like you're needing something, right? Like that moment of feeling the propelling forward as opposed to the pulling back. Bottom of the deck, that's the thing. We've got here the Nine of Pentacles today, which is again a little bit of that dissimilarity, if you will, in relationality to comfort levels right now. Feminine is looking for something that feels comfortable for them. Masculine is looking at something like feminine wants to inhabit a space right now that would feel like the opposite of comfort for the masculine. So being able to recognize and facilitate and see what someone energetically needs at this moment, but also recognizing it's not someone's responsibility to create that for you in that space. Like, again, like being mindful about being in like different, like just being in different headspaces today is going to be very valuable and important across all of the frequencies. For the energy and separation, this is that moment of really identifying one's own sense of energetic comfort, because we see even now that for the feminine energy, coming into that modality of feeling energetically comfortable, that is like something we're seeing in separation right now, which is like a lot of this feminine energy is reaching that point of easement that they're like, again, they're almost saying like, I am very happy facilitating this point here. Like, that's the thing with a lot of the feminine energy right now. This is the feminine energy that's creating that point of satisfaction of saying like, if that is a place or space that like leads to like no connectivity with masculine, feminine's like, I'm okay with that too, because that's the feminine energy almost saying to a certain extent, you know, that like, I have to say, like, that is the beauty of like that open palm mentality, is like the feminine like coming to a point of recognizing and saying like, I want something, but I don't energetically need something. And for masculine, it's almost that moment or modality that we're seeing that has more to do with about being able to identify what that point of energetic comfort looks like. That is where we find all of the energy today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and sharing in these messages. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, gracestrega.com. My private readings are done over video, and if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off on any of my services. Just mention your subscriber name at the point of payment. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading and you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. Also, there are a couple of things I want to bring you guys up to speed on today. First and foremost, the contest that I'm having to offer a free reading this is the final week to be able to enter it. If you would like to enter that contest, all you need to do is head over to the survey link that's in my bio. It is a 2-minute survey. We are looking about doing some destination trips right now to see where we want to go in terms of doing a bit of tarot retreats. I would love to find out where you might want to go if we were to host something like that. So if you could take the time to fill out that survey, I would really appreciate it. And I wish you the best of luck in winning that reading. Second of all, I'm very excited to announce that we're going to be starting our tarot classes this week. Our tarot program is going to be over on Substack, gracestrega.substack.com. It is going to be a perfect class environment for both seasoned tarot readers as well as those new to the tarot. We're doing a card by card breakdown of each card in the tarot. We are starting that journey on Wednesday, April 17th at 6 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. Your subscription to my Substack will grant you access to that class, the live class, as well as the recording of the class afterwards. It will also grant you access to a private chat with me to ask any questions in relationality to that class, as well as any of the course materials I'll be providing. Also, if you become a founding member to my Substack, your subscription will also grant you access to a free one-on-one class with me, where a mentorship class where I will give you insight on where you are in your personal tarot journey and help you build a path of education in terms of what will be best for you at this time. I hope you guys can join me on that journey, and either way, please be sure to be following me over on my Substack, where you'll be able to find the podcast of this as well as any new information or notifications. I want to thank you guys so much for being here with me today and sharing with me in these messages, and we will do this again tomorrow.